this session is just for you to ask questions like on the homework or any kind of concepts that you're having trouble with. I'll do an example so that you can see a little bit about Excel. And again, it's just for you. So any questions that you have, I can help you with on the homework or the readings or how things work, anything like that. So I guess we can go ahead and get started. Did you have any questions on anything like that in the assignments?
I had a question about the discussion, and maybe I'm overthinking it. So
Okay.
I did do the table and everything. So I initially started by sorting the data by smallest to largest. Of course, I included the gender tab so that it would sort properly. But
Okay.
I didn't use the gender at all. So I put that one thing that you could draw from the table was that it was quantitative data instead of qualitative data because I didn't use the gender to categorize anything. I just used the numbers. But one thing I was confused about was, okay, so I said that was one conclusion that could be drawn, and then I said
That's
that,
excellent. That is very excellent. I just want to point that out. Good job.
oh, thank you. And then I said another thing that could be drawn based on the table was the fact that close to 50% of respondents were requesting more than $55 because it was like 22 respondents that said that. And then it was only 55 people that responded. So I said close to half. And I put that was another thing. But then I said that it was a population instead of a sample because it was open to everyone. But I'm not sure if that could be drawn from the table per se. So I did include that, but I wasn't sure if that was along the lines of what you were looking for.
Let me say first that those two conclusions are awesome. There's an infinite number probably of conclusions that you can draw. So there's no really on the discussions, even through week 8, there's no really right or wrong answers. So I just want to point that out. They're not really graded on right or wrong. They're graded on, how much evidence that you supply to your decisions. And then other students are supposed to jump in and, talk about what you wrote. So first off, that's great. Your conclusions are awesome. The 22, out of 55, the thing about a population versus a sample, and this is really, really important. And I don't think you're overthinking things. Example, what we're going to learn through well, really, there's only 7 weeks of material. Week 8 is the final. Let me cancel this. So week 8 is only for the final. But weeks 1 through 7, we're going to use samples to tell us more about the population. So the population would be only if every single person in that company filled out the survey. So that's why, the population of the United States, we can't really, even though we do the census, we can't find we can't ever count the whole population of the United States. That's almost impossible. And so we use samples to tell us about the population. So that's what we're doing now. But I mean, if you wrote about the population versus example, don't delete it or anything, because we can talk about that.
Okay, and that was the part that was confusing me because I thought, and it's hard for me to learn math through a textbook, so I'm just putting that out there now. But I I thought because population was, but for it being open to everyone and sample is being selected, like I'm selecting the people that are going to respond. So that's why I thought even though everybody didn't respond, it was a population, um, because it was open to everyone. Everyone just chose not to respond. So that was the part that kind of threw me off. And I was like, wait, is it a sample or is it a population? So but that makes sense because it pretty much will always be a sample for the most part because
Yes.
there's no way to survey everyone.
Yes, that's true. So we'll be working with samples. And I think one of the homework problems or in the discussions in the following weeks will say, hey, pretend this is a population. So, you know, when it tells you that, then go with it. But no, I think the whole point of what we're going to learn this session is that we can use example to tell us a lot about the population, and we can see how good that example is. There's ways to test, which we'll find out about. And we also didn't really learn, it's in the textbook, but there's so much in the text that you know, it just gets overwhelming. But there are things called voluntary. So this survey was voluntary, but you know, it was only dependent on the people that did respond. But that's our example. We're going to use that example or different examples to tell us more about the population for the whole company, because you know, if whoever answered that sample is going to make it better for everybody else, you know, in the company, even though they didn't answer.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, but don't change anything in your discussion, because that's something that we can talk about. You know, other people can talk about in the post. That's, you know, we go back and forth. We're supposed to go back and forth. And on tomorrow, I'm going to go in and read everybody's and, you know, just add things to it or clarify things. But no, you're doing great.
Okay, thank you.
Winnie, did you have a question?
I was more so, yes, my first question is, the Excel example that was along with the discussion question, do you want us to post that up under our discussion question as well?
Yes.
Okay, and from that, it's whatever we decide to use as far as a bar, a graph,
Yes.
whatever chart we decide to use.
Yes, whatever you decide to use. Just the whole point is in this class also is that you're going to be making a lot of decisions, and these decisions just need evidence. They need proof, or they need reasons why you picked what you did. So that's pretty much, there's no right or wrong graph here. It's pretty much how you support your decision.
Okay.
But you can pick whatever kind of graph you think fits the data best.
Okay, because I'm like Charity. I'm thinking I'm overthinking the discussion question, because I have looked at this discussion question since Wednesday and I still haven't answered it yet, because I don't think that I'm going to make a wrong answer or say something wrong. It's just trying to take what I have read and apply it. And I also will say statistics have never been my favorite. Have never. I've always struggled with trying to make sense of this. And like Charity said, math is not my strong suit at all. And when it comes down trying to sit here and teach myself how to go in and formulate and use Excel to formulate these charts, even with some of the homework that I did try and attempt to do, I used Excel for the majority of the questions and inputted everything in Excel and calculated things up with the chart and figured out with Excel's math on making sure that I got the correct answer. And then went behind myself and asked, did I do this right? just to make sure I did it right. To make sure
Okay,
I'm
here's
going in
the
the right
deal.
direction.
You don't have to be right on your first post. Okay. We're not like grading. I'm not grading it right or wrong. And whenever you post, I look at this every day. So if there's a new post, I try to go in there and see if you are on the wrong track. Then I'll try to put you on the right track. And other students are supposed to help too. That's why you have 2 reply posts. So if you don't get it right on the first try, then we help you try, on your second, you have 3 posts total. So on your second post, you can fix it. Or on your third post, you can fix it and try to get it closer to so we're just learning on the discussion posts. Okay. When it comes to the other assignments, the written assignments and things like that, you're not going to have any help. I mean, I'll help you, but you're not going to have other, students to chime in and say, hey, let's try going this way. So that's the whole point, basically, of the discussion post. Okay. So even if you're second guessing yourself, the first thing you always think about in math is usually the right thing. I could tell you that. The first thing that comes to your head is usually the right thing. And I have an example I can work and show you how to use Excel if you were struggling with that.
Yes, I am struggling with Excel as well.
All right. Do you want me to go ahead and... Okay.
Yes, one more question though. Also, in the discussion, I did read a discussion question that you were having with one of the students, and you were talking about class, right? And
yeah,
I remember reading, and I was so confused with that. I was so confused. That's on the assignment. That's why I stopped at when it started talking about class, because I was trying to go back and reteach myself the 2 to the 7th, the 2 to the 4th, like 2K. I'm like, what is this? Why is this not making sense to me? How come I'm not getting this?
Okay.
And she attached a PDF that breaks down each step for the discussion. That's how I got through it, because the text was not helpful for that for me, because I'm very visual and I have to like plug it in as I go. So I just like toggled back and forth between her PDF that she attached for the discussion for this week. And I think it was the one that said, let's get this ball rolling or something like that.
Yeah, I try to do that.
It literally broke it down.
So that it won't, you don't have to read so much. But I'm going to do that. I can go right over it now. It's a lot easier than you think. Okay, so.
Go over it since I have you right here.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Okay, so when you have groups or tons of numbers, suppose you have, like 100 numbers, but we'll start small. So let's take, say you have like 50 numbers in your data set. Okay, so you want to find a number bigger than that. That's a factor of 2. So the 2 to the first is the exponent. That just means 2 one time. So 2 to the squared is 2 times 2. That's 2 twice, which is 4. So you're going to keep going until you find a number bigger than, I don't know why I just did that. You're going to keep going until you find a number bigger than 50. Until you find a number bigger than the number of numbers you have. So like 2 to the cubed is 2, 2, 2 is 8. That's not big enough. 2 to the 4th is 4 2s. That's 16. So none of these are bigger than 50. Keep going. 2 to the 5th is 5 2s. That's 32. That's not big enough. 2 to the 6th is 6 2s. And that's 64. So we can stop right now because 64 is bigger than 50. So what that tells us is that our exponent 6 is the number of classes. So if you had to do that 6 times, that tells us we have 6 classes.
Okay.
All right. If you
And
have
the
100,
formula to that, okay, I'm
Go ahead.
listening.
No, go ahead.
And you said the formula to that, however many classes we have, that's how we, let me go back. Because that was a formula
That's how
that
many groups.
went with. Okay.
That's how many groups you use. Classes just means groups. How many groups of numbers you should have.
Group.
Because if you graph 50, in our discussion, we had 55 people. If you graph 55 bars in a bar chart, that's not telling us anything. But if you group them into only maybe 5 or 6 bars, then you get, more of an idea. You can really look at that picture and get more of an idea of it. So if you had, let's say we had 100 numbers in our data set. Okay, I gave you 100 numbers and you were supposed to graph them. Well, we keep going. We said 2 to the 6 was 64. Well, that's not bigger than 100. Okay, you just keep going until you find your number that's bigger than the number in your data set. 2 to the 7th is 128. Well, 128 is bigger than 100. So how many classes would we use here? Or how many groups?
7.
Yes.
7.
So 7 groups. So let's say you had 500 numbers. You would just I would use a calculator. And let's see. Okay, so I get to the 9th is 512, and 512 is bigger than 500. So in this case, it would be 9 groups. Okay, so you see what I'm doing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so does that help just to pick your number of groups that you need?
Yes, ma'am. That does.
Okay.
That helps out a lot.
Okay, so then once you do that, once you pick your groups, okay, then the second thing is to, and I'm going to do an example in Excel for you. So I'm still going to do that. Right now, we just have to figure out the groups. So let's say we have 50 numbers. So 2 to the 6 was 64. That was bigger than 50. So we decided 6 groups or 6 classes. And then, so we have to do the width of the classes. How many numbers are in each class? That's the width. And what that is the high number minus the low number divided by the number of groups.
Low.
And I'm recording this. I'm going to post it tonight, right after we're done. But so let's go right to this example, because we're going to have to do that. And let's see. All right. Let's see if you can. Okay, can you see my Excel?
No, ma'am, I can't see it.
You can't see the Excel screen?
No, ma'am, I see where it says content, our collaboration that we're doing, and it says you're sharing an application, but I don't actually see the application.
Okay, hold on. I don't know what's going on. All right. Huh. Window.
It showed like a bunch of tiled windows.
Can you see that?
Now I do.
Now we see the Excel.
Okay. All right. So in my example, if you look on the left side, I have like 50 numbers, okay? So this is just an example, and I want to group them. These are just random numbers I picked up. So I want to group them. So if I have 50 numbers, how many classes am I going to have?
You're going to have 6 classes.
Very good, because 2 to the 6 is 2 6 times is 64, and 64 is bigger than 50. Yes. So 6 groups or classes, same thing. Good. Okay, now I want to do the width. So we're going to figure out the width. So it's going to be the high number minus the low number, but I have all these numbers and they're not in any order. So I'm going to put them in order. And to do that in Excel, all you have to do is go over here to the right on top, and it says sort and filter. So I'm going to sort them smallest to largest. So it'll put all these numbers in order. Now you don't have to, but it's a lot easier if you do so. And you can see that our low number is 20 and our high number is 50. So the class width would be 50 minus 20, high minus low, divided by the number of groups would be 6. So that would be 5. Okay, so far?
Got it.
Okay, so here's kind of the tricky part. The book is kind of hard to read here. So I'm going to go back to my whiteboard. Okay, so we have 50, in my example, we have 50 numbers. We have 6 groups, and the width was 5. So you're going to start with your low number, which was 20, and you're going to have 5 numbers in this group, in the first group. So the first group's going to start with the low number, and then it's going to count 5 numbers. So it's going to be 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So our first group is 20 to 24. Now that's misleading. A lot of people say it's 20 to 25. But no, if you count the numbers between 20 and 25, you're going to have 6 numbers. So that would make the width 6. But if you start from your low number in my example, the lowest number was 20, and then count so that there's 5 numbers in this group, you should see that there's 5 numbers between 20 and 24, including the endpoints 20 and 24. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what we mean by width 5. It includes 5 numbers, including your endpoints. So the next group would be 25. And you don't have to do this all the time, but it's nice to write it out to make sure that you have the correct numbers in your group. Okay, so this was 25 to 29 would be your next group. And you can see how the pattern goes, I hope, from this. So I'm just going to continue. And then my last group would be greater, well, that would be 44, would be greater than 45. So there's my 6 groups. So does that make sense? That you have to be careful how you write your groups.
Oh, okay, so the last one is just 45 and greater.
Yeah, I would just do the last one as 45 and greater.
5 on the group.
Yeah. All right, so let me just say this. If your width is 8, just for an example, okay? I mean, this is good enough for I'm going to go back to Excel, but if our width was 8, and we started at 20, then it would just go to 27 because there's 8 numbers between 20. If you count that, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And a lot of people think, oh, it's 27 minus 20 is only 7 numbers. But no, when you do 27 minus 20, you're not counting number 20. So you have to add one more back in. So what I'm saying is this class or group would be 20 to 27 if your width was 8. So just be careful that you count how many numbers are in between, including your endpoints for your class width.
I have a question. In Excel, they still count like, so when you went from 20 to 24 and the next set, Excel they would have did 24 to 29 or 28.
The book does that.
Okay. So
okay. So what the book does, here, let me show you what the book does. And I've never seen it done this way. The book does 20 less than 20, 24. No, it's a 25. Sorry. The book, it's very confusing the way they do it. The book does 20 less than 25. So you're not including 25 when it's written like that. That means 20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
Oh.
So this means
okay.
You include this point, but not this point because of that less than. So then they say, and it's very confusing the way they do that. Then they say 25 less than 30, but less than 30 is 29. Okay, so the book uses less than, not less than or equal to. So you have to go smaller than 25 to 24. Then this would be 25, 26, 27. So I think you're safe. I think you're safe if you just start with the lowest number. Start with the lowest number and then count till you get to your width. So if your width is 7, you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then that tells you where to start again.
Okay, I'm tracking.
So again, for your group, start with your lowest number, and then if your width is 7, make 7 blanks, and then fill them in, and that will get you to your last endpoint. The endpoint for the first group. So again, it would be 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That's 5 numbers. So 5 is your width.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to Excel. Do you see Excel?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we decided our width was 5. So our classes or our groups are 20 to 24, 25 to, and I do it this way because if you ever see a graph anywhere else, I never see it the way they write it in the book. So I think the way the book does it is kind of confusing. I mean, if you want to do it that way, that's fine. It's not wrong, but I'll do the last group is greater than 45 or greater than or equal to 45. So I'll just do 45 and greater. How's that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you don't like Excel at all, then just count. So what you can do, I mean, you can't do this if there's 1,000 numbers, but you know, just count how many numbers are between 20 and 24, including 24. If you look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So since we arranged them in order, this number right here should come out to be 10 for the count. And you can just count them by hand if you want to do it that way. But I'll show you Excel. So in this middle column is your bin limit. That means that's just the highest number in your group. So 24, this one would be 29. You take the highest number in each group. I'll just put 50 here because 50 is our largest number. So I call that the bin limit. All that is the highest number in each group. Now, if you want Excel to do this for you, you're going to go to this last column. And Excel's going to count them all for you. And again, this is handy if you have, 1,000 numbers. We only have 50, so it's not too bad. But what we're going to do is we're going to select this whole column. Now, don't do anything else. Just select the column and you type equals frequency. You can click on that. It'll come up frequency. And that's how you count. So you just select everything in that column and type in equal frequency. This is the data array. So that means you select everything in your data. So we're going to select the 50 numbers. So let me select the 50 numbers. Then I put a comma, and then it's asking for the bins array. Array is just a list. So it's asking for the bin limit. So then we select that column and close the parentheses. And then you press Control, Shift, Enter. Control, Shift, Enter, and it fills in your table. And all those numbers should add up to 50, which it does. So I'll go through that again. What you do, let me get rid of this. Wait. It's not letting me. Huh. Huh, it's not letting me.
Try clearing all the information up there.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do. My laptop.
It has an eraser. It has an eraser at the top where it says clear.
Okay. Where does it say clear? Cut?
Over here where it says auto sum, where it says find and select, it has a clear.
Oh.
Right there. Find clear.
It's not even letting me. That's really weird. It's not even letting me get to a different. All right, let me just go to, it's not even letting me copy. I had this happen before on my Excel. Cannot quit Excel. Well, that's weird. All right, well, let me just show you this again. I'm gonna copy this down here. And then I'm gonna go, okay, so I'm just gonna show you how Excel counts itself. So I'm going to select this column and I'm going to type in, I'm not going to press anything else. I'm just going to equal frequency. So I start typing FRE and then the frequency comes up. So I select that. Then I select the data array, which is on my numbers. So I'm just showing you this again. So I selected all my numbers and then I do comma and then it wants the bin array, the bin list. So that's the bin limits or the highest number in each group. And then I don't press enter, I press Control Shift Enter. Control Shift Enter and it counts it for me. So that's all I have to do. And then to get a graph in Excel, so let's graph this. So I'm going to take, I'm going to take my classes. Let me copy them over here. And these counts. I'm going to copy them over here. It's not going to do that because, all right, I'm going to show you how to graph this then. Let me get rid of this. I guess my Excel just takes a while to respond. I don't know why it's doing this. All right. So I'm going to take my classes and I'm going to graph this. So I'm going to select my classes. Now, if I want to select my count, I don't need this bin limit anymore, but you can't get rid of them because it used it to count the numbers. I'm going to press Control while I take this column. So that gives me, if I press Control while I take my second column, it lets me take these two separate columns. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to insert, I go up here and insert the column chart. This is going to be a histogram. And I just picked the first column chart and I don't want it there. I'm going to move it. Let me move it right below it. Okay. And that gives me my count. So now you see it's a really good chart. I'm going to get rid of that. I don't need that. Okay. I'm going to change the title. So I could just click on the title and do, I guess we could say these are ages. So you could say frequency of ages. And if you want to put titles in for your axes, we're going to go to format. Then we go to layout, and we see axis titles. And if we want to do the horizontal one, I want a title below the axis. All you have to do is that. And then type in, let's do ages. And then we can also do a vertical axis title, and we want it to be a horizontal title. And that lets me title this axis and just, let's say, frequency. So just make sure you have good titles. Now, if you just want the bar chart, you can stop right there. That's called a bar chart or a column chart. If you want a histogram, all you have to do is just right click on one of the bars. So I noticed they all have these little dot things, but you only have to right click on one bar and then go down here to Format Data Series. So Format Data Series, and it has this gap. So if I want a histogram, the only difference between a bar chart and a histogram is that a histogram has no gap. So I want that to be 0. Everything else is fine. And I'll close that. And now I have a histogram. And pretty much done. That would be a good chart. If you want a pie chart, then you would just go insert a pie right here. There's a pie chart. You could do a bar chart. There's a scatter graph. You can do all kinds of charts here the same way. So did that help?
Yes, ma'am, that helped.
Okay, like I said, I recorded this. If there's something that you missed, I'm gonna put it up right after we're over. But did you have any questions on that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. What about any of the homework, or I can always get on Collaborate with you if you have more questions, or you can always just you can call me or text me. Also, if you call me or text me, I can get you answers pretty fast. You're not bothering me. I'm here to help you.
Okay.
And
so
that is one.
What you were doing on the Excel, is that similar to, because the last question on the homework, it was asking us to find relative frequency and frequency, right? And that's just breaking down, is that the same thing? It's just breaking down the classes and groups?
Okay, yes. First, well, kind of. Let me go back to Excel. So, let's see. They changed this up, so I'm having a little bit of a problem trying to. Okay, now you should see Excel, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the count is also called relative frequency. Then if you want cumulative, relative frequency, I'm sorry, is the percentage.
Okay.
So hold on a second. Yes, it's the decimal. So here, this would be 10 divided by 50. And the next one would be 5 divided by 50. And the next one would be 9 divided by 50. So it would be, if you just say equals 10 divided by 50, then I get the 0.2. This would be equals. If you ever wanted to compute a formula, you just put equals there and it will do it for you. 5 divided by 50. equals 9 divided by 50. 8 divided by 50.
Okay.
9 divided by 50.
I did that when it actually
Okay.
asked for the percentage on one of the questions. I think it was the question prior to question 5. I was able to do that because it asked me for percentages. But when it asked for, I guess when it changed the terminology, that's where I went like, what am I supposed to be doing?
Oh, okay. Well, what I tried to do also, in the first announcement when I sent out about week 1, I tried to tell you just what pages to look at. So you don't have to really read the whole text, because some of this, just honestly, some of the stuff in the text is pretty complex. So what I tried to do in the week, I always do a week 1 announcement or week 2 announcement, is tell you just what pages are important. So this
I
was on
wish I
page.
had you when I was going through my green belt. I really wish I had you. I probably wouldn't have struggled as much.
Well, I'm trying. Nobody should number one, no one should be struggling in this class. You have lots of resources, and one of the resources is me. I'm not your teacher. I'm your coach. I want to help you through this class. So, don't be afraid to ask questions, please. Okay, so if you want the cumulative relative frequency, you just keep adding the one before. So that would be, you just start with the 0.2. This would be 0.2 plus 0.1 would be 0.3. This is 0.3, and then you add the one, the next one you would add the 0.18, so that would give you 0.48. Add the 0.16. Should add up all to 100 at the end. That should be equal 0.64 plus 0.18, and that would equal 1. When you add 18 to 82, it's 1. So it should equal 100%. But yeah, if you get stuck, just call me or send me a text. You can also email me, but usually it's faster if you well, I check email all the time, so it's just up to you what you feel comfortable with.
What is your phone number again? It was 501. Was it 501?
912-0988.
0988. 0988. Got you. Okay. I feel a little bit more confident now. I can tackle the assignments with confidence now.
I hope so. You should. Don't overthink.
You helped out a lot.
Okay, like
and
I
I'm
said,
glad I came tonight.
Good. I'm just come anytime. Even if you don't have questions, you can come watch. But and if you can't make it, just email me questions and I'll answer them online.
Okay.
So I'm gonna post this and send it out in an email. But like I said, if you have questions in the future, just let me know.
I will do that.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I'm so happy you came on.
No problem. Get off my
All right. Anybody, any other questions? Charity, did you have any more?
Nope, I just have to fix my graph because the book confused me. I was doing it from number to number because that's what it showed in the book, I think. Or maybe I already fixed it when I was trying to calculate. But everything else made sense. So I'm good to go.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad you came on. And like I said, I'm here if you get stuck. Okay.
And don't worry, we will meet again soon.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Thank
All
you so
right.
much.
Well, you have a good evening.
You too. Bye, Whitney.
Bye.